Hello everybody, my name is Vicente Campos de la Torre from Universidad Complutense Madrid, and today I'm going to present a didactic proposal titled Local Festivities as a Didactic Resource in English for Specific Purposes, the case of Las Cruces de Mayo in Almuñécar. Before we begin, it's important to point out that the students of the degree in tourism are not only trained in hospitality and cultural management, they are also expected to act as a tourist guides for international visitors. So this often includes explaining local tradition, which is exactly the focus of this proposal. So let's begin with some context. For this proposal, it's important to highlight that tourism students in Spain are often expected to guide and inform to international visitors about local tradition. However, many English for specific purposes, or ESP from now on, courses rely on generic or disconnected vocabulary that doesn't reflect real cultural situations students will face. So, there is a clear need for more relevant, localized content that connects students' training with their cultural identity of their own region. This work aims to bridge that gap. So in this project, we propose using the traditional Andalusian festival Las Cruces de Mayo as the central topic of that ESP classroom activity. Students will work on vocabulary and communication competence while engaging with a celebration that they are more or less familiar with. By doing so, they'll gain language skill or communicative competence and cultural confidence. At the same time, the project also introduces elements of task or project-based learning and encouraging participation, collaboration, and reflection. In this point, let's talk about Las Cruces de Mayo. So what is Las Cruces de Mayo? It's a traditional Andalusian festivity held in early May where people decorate large crosses with fireworks and create beautiful public displays. These are set up in streets and plazas, often accompanied by traditional music, food, skills or stalls, and communities gatherings. For many international tourists, the only version of this festivity they know is the one held in Granada. Others may recognize Almuñécar only because of the excellent weather. It's not at the tropical coast of Europe. But what many don't realize is that Almuñécar has its own rich celebration of La Cruce de Mayo, apart from the beach, full of cultural performances and vibrant community participation. That makes it an ideal topic for tourism students preparing to present local culture to international tourists. And now, once that we have talked about the context, what about the proposal? What about the classroom activity design? So it's important that, as I said before, that we're going to follow a project-based learning methodology, because we don't have many time. We are running an official curricula, so we have to implement some tips or project-based learning methodology approach. But in this context, the classroom activity is structured into 3 phases. First, the students are called to introduce the vocabulary and cultural background of Las Cruces de Mayo, because many of them don't know this cultural performance, and most of them don't know the vocabulary related to this cultural display or performance. Secondly, or in the second place, they analyze real life or authentic example of tourist interaction related to the event. And finally, they are asked to create a short guided tour or cultural explanation in English using the target vocabulary and expression learned. This activity, or this whole approach try to foster the communicative competence while rooting the lesson in students' life of future life experiences, professional life. As we mentioned before, students are following, or in our classes are following a project-based learning methodology. So they are called from the beginning to create their final project. As a final task, the students are asked to work in small groups and design a short video or presentation of a show in English, presenting Las Cruces de Mayo as if they were speaking to tourists, okay? Using authentic materials. If they want, they can create that. There was a group that they created an authentic Cruz de Mayo. They must describe the event, its origins, its significance, and what tourists can expect to see and do, okay? Putting into practice what they have learned in this unit. This project encourages creativity, teamwork, and functional use of the English language in authentic and real-world context as a professional, okay? Remember that we are talking about English for specific purposes. In this case, student of the degree of tourism. We have to say that this unit was fantastic and the outcomes have been very positive in general. Students reporting increased motivation and engagement with the course material, okay, but because we, apart from the textbook, using this methodology, they reported this kind of outcomes. They felt more confident speaking English, were discussing a topic they already knew, or they already have been working well in English language. Teachers, we also observe that students improved fluency, better vocabulary retention, and more participation in the class discussion. As a conclusion, we have to say that using local culture, okay, that we have been working hard, such as La Cruces de Mayo and ESP courses, can be a powerful way to connect language learning with identity, tradition, and professional preparation and training. This approach not only improves linguistic competence, but also empowers the students to act as a cultural mediators in the tourism industry. It's an example of how language education can be both practical and meaningful. And this is something good that the students evaluated very positive, okay, in the classes. So this is the end. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye, okay? Thank you.